we're going to talk today about one of the yamas from the 8 limbs of yoga, and this is Brahmacharya. So Brahmacharya is sometimes translated as celibacy, and if you think to when the Yoga Sutras were written, thousands of years ago, that would have made sense in who was practicing yoga, who was studying yoga, who was learning the texts and studying with the gurus. And in today's day and age, celibacy is not really a part of our culture and our practices. However, we do still translate it to mean to be faithful to your spouse, so that's going to be important, or to not move into excess with our sexual practices. So no cheating, probably not really strong on pornography, those kinds of things. So keeping it within a healthy relationship for a healthy amount and healthy practices, mutually beneficial. But taking that aside, out of this yama, the way of living or way of thinking, it's more about moderation. So in our physical yoga practice, just knowing that there's always a sweet spot. And I find it's most easy to feel or to think about in a yin practice when you're holding a posture for an extended period of time. When you're doing that, you really notice how it starts with one sensation and the sensations ebb and flow while you're holding it. The posture hasn't changed, but the sensations are always changing. And so we have to just make subtle shifts so that we stay in the sweet spot. Not too much sensation. We don't want to go into pain or damage to the tissues, but we do want to be creating a result. We're trying to do something to the body. We're trying to create a change. And so that would be considered Brahmacharya, or moderation, not too much, not too little, making progress, moving forward, and yet not doing damage in that attempt to make progress. Another way to look at Brahmacharya, the way it's often translated or written, is to talk about the relationship with God. And sometimes it's referred to as God's view. So allowing yourself the perspective. So when you're in a situation or a relationship or a problem, can you take yourself out of the situation and see it as God would see it? So in other words, being able to see the full picture. And I like that one. I think that one's really important because I think we can all kind of go down the rabbit hole sometimes, or we get really strongly rooted beliefs or ideas about our reality. And our reality is just ours. The person sitting beside us or living with us or having a conversation with us has a completely different sense of reality, even though you're partaking in the same conversation or the same exchange. There's going to be differences. So recognizing that and knowing that and taking that into consideration. I also want to just read a little bit from my favorite book. And this is what she says about Brahmacharya. Being an audience for God also means we have to get off center stage. We don't need to be the center of attention and activity all the time. I think it might surprise us to realize how much crazy activity we create in our days just so we can feel important. Oof. We wear our busyness like a badge. Like our busyness would somehow impress the rest of the world or impress ourselves. How many of us go to bed with a sense of accomplishment because we checked a lot of things off our task list, or someone told us how great we were, or we helped others? Guilty of that. What if we walked off stage altogether and put God there instead? Maybe then we could go to sleep at night, not with a sense of accomplishment, but with a sense of wonder. because all day we had been an attentive audience to the divine play. I like that idea of taking ourselves off center stage. And I'm getting better, but I still have a strong reaction to the word God. And whenever now I see the word or think of the word, I just change it to joy. And then I don't have the same reaction. And that's a reaction that's passed down to me from how I was parented and how I was brought up to think about religion and God. But if God works for you, then keep it. I just simply change it to joy. She goes on to say, Brahmacharya reminds us that we aren't embodied in this form to feel dead, but to feel alive. We aren't embodied to snuff out our vitality and passion through excess, but to bring it to full expression. Brahmacharya invites us to be willing to walk around, turned on, to the wonders of life itself. Howard Thurman understood the importance of our passion to the world when he said, I love this, don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Now, what makes you come alive? And are you doing it for recognition from others? Are you doing it so you can tick the to-do list for your life? Or are you doing it because it fills you up, brings joy to your life, makes you feel like you're in a sense of wonder, like, oh my God, this is so amazing. So there's our food for thought for today as we move through our practice. And maybe something comes to you right away that, it just lights you up inside. And then recognize that that's a good thing, but then question the why. Is it because you're attached to the recognition that you get from it, or the comments that you get from others, the status that you get from doing this thing? Is that what's lighting you up? Or is the actual act and the sense of wonder with what you're doing lighting you up? Ooh. All right, let's get started by finding a comfortable seat. We'll close down the eyes and we'll just take a few moments to ponder the words and see where it sits with us and what comes up. And then we'll start to move through the practice. Eyes can be downcast or closed, chin tucked. Flutter the eyes open, lift the chin, and we're going to come so that the legs are extended out in front to start. Add the extra lift out of the sit bones, should you require it. Rock a little bit side to side, pull your toes back, press the backs of the legs down towards the floor, and come to cultivate your nice tall spine. We're going to start with the fingertips out to the side, and then beginning your side bend flow. So leaning to one side, you can stay as long as you feel is necessary, and switching sides when you feel like it's time. Now top arm can be bent or straight. It may also want to stay on the hip. And you can move in time with your breath, Or you may want to hold and take a couple cycles before you switch sides. I'm thinking about the idea of moderation, just finding that perfect blend of not too much, not too little. We'll do a few more cycles of our side bend. And eventually coming back to center. From center, roll the shoulders and take your hands behind your back. Tense your fingers behind you and then lift up through the sternum. So we're getting a big stretch and opening through the front of the chest. Gaze can even go up. Bringing the gaze back forward. Keep your hands behind your back, but now interlace the fingers. You may need to bend your elbows and roll your shoulders a couple times. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and then pull the knuckles down towards the floor, squeezing your elbows and the palms of your hands together. Keep the nice tall spine. Try not to let your lower ribs flare out. And then if you've got more space, lift your hands behind you. I'm going to hold them here. Option to stay right where you are, just working to lift your hands, or you may be able to hinge forward slightly. And you're just going to go forward as far as you can, and then you'll stop, you'll hold, you'll settle the breath. And we'll rise back up. Unlace the hands, bring them out in front, roll the shoulders a couple times. And I call this next stretch a dolphin or a penguin stretch. Maybe that makes sense, maybe it doesn't, I don't know, but this is how I do it. One hand goes behind the back, and the back of your wrist just rests on your low back. And you made like a little triangle arm, looks like a penguin arm. So you're pressing the back of your wrist or the back of your hand into the back, and then you're taking your free hand to pull the point of your elbow forward towards the midline. You're going to feel this right around the shoulder blade. You might not get very much movement, but if you're feeling a pulling sensation or a stretching sensation across the shoulder blade, then you're in the stretch. So just go where you can, and maybe just having your arm like that is enough too. Sometimes you don't need to add the pulling forward. Release this side and repeat on the other side. So making your little triangle penguin arm, and then perhaps adding the pulling forward of the elbow point. And the back of your wrist is simply resting on the little love handle notch back here. And releasing this side, couple rolls of the shoulders. Okay. So long straight legs, toes pulling back, legs are actively pressing down, firmness through the belly, reaching the crown of your head up. We're going to start to work on some static holds. This can build up quite a bit of tension in the traps and the neck, but we're going to try to purposefully relax these muscles and isolate the muscles through the arms and the back. So we're going to take the arms out to the side, and your palms are going to be facing down. So be mindful that we don't arch the lower ribs forward. We're going to keep pulling them back, firmness to the belly as you reach your arms straight out. So sometimes the tendency is to kind of start to lift the shoulders, but we're going to pull them down and away and emphasize instead the reach of the fingertips. Make your arms as long as possible. And then be mindful if that tension starts to creep up into the traps and the shoulders, you might need to take a break, move around, and then come back into it. So this is a great way to build strength, simply by just holding our arms out, holding our shape. I can remember reading a book about medieval Europe, and one of the tasks that the young boys who were learning sword fighting had to do was to hold their arms straight out for a really long time. And I was, oh, so painful. But they developed the muscles and the strength that they needed in order to move those swords and to fight safely. So a little bit of effort in order to achieve the gain that we're looking for. This is similar to like our Warrior 2 arms. So we're building our stamina up so we can hold Warrior 2 a little easier. This is also the same shape that we have in our triangle pose. So coming into our triangle pose variation, turn your palms to face forward. You can reach the fingertips still, and we're just holding. Notice what's happening in the lower ribs. If you've jutted your chest out or you're letting your low back take some of the arch back, you're gonna just keep nice, tall, and straight. Again, palms are facing forward. So really be mindful, listen to the body. If you're starting to feel a lot of tension build up, just take a break, move around, come back in. It can make all the difference in the world. We're almost done here. And release the hands down, roll the shoulders. Feel the tension and the strength that can come from just simply holding your arms. We're going to keep adding on. So taking the time, you might need to massage the traps, the muscles of the neck and the head, upper back. Okay, so coming back, establish your nice tall spine. Legs again are still active. This time bringing your hands up into like goalposts or cactus arms. So palms are facing forward, elbows are at 90 degrees. Shoulder blades pulling down your back. And then you're just going to take your whole arm and pull it back farther. Just see where you can go. Try to keep your 90-degree angles. You might not be able to see what shape you're creating. That's okay. Know that it's close. And we're going to hold here. So you'll feel the stretch to the front of the chest. You'll feel the effort in the upper back to be pulling the shoulder blades together in your back and creating and keeping your 90-degree angle. Now just coming back so that your arms are the same shape, but they're not pressing back now. They're coming straight out from the shoulders, nice and straight and in alignment. And now you're just going to turn your whole shape to point down. So elbows stay at 90, now the fingertips are down. And we're trying to create our upside down goalposts. So if you've had a shoulder injury or anything that's gone on, you may have a slightly different shape on one side than the other, and that's okay. We're going to work with what we've got. Now we're going to take movement. So from here, coming back up, and then turning back down. Okay, so we're going to move through this a few times. Go at your own pace. Try to keep the 90 degrees as best you can. Last time, getting the fingertips to point down. Hold. And then just release the arms. Roll the shoulders. Alright, and then we'll just come to relax. I'm going to come into our twist now. So the right knee is going to pull into the chest. You can stay here or you can cross it over your left straight leg. Left hand is going to wrap around your right knee, and you're going to start to pull your right knee towards your left armpit. So think it's going to cross your body until you hopefully will feel a sensation through the outside of the right glute and the right hip. So you do need to use your arm to create that sensation until you get the stretch, and then you're going to keep that. You may need to lean back slightly and let your belly soften so that you can start to turn to the right. And your right hand can go behind you for balance and support. So we're creating the rotation from mid to upper back. Low back stays pretty stable. And you're continuing to pull knee to opposite armpit. Come back to face forward. Don't change your legs, but we're just going to shift the arms slightly. So keeping the right hand somewhere behind you, reach the left arm up towards the ceiling, then turn and bring the elbow to the outside of the knee. So you've made like a stop sign with your left hand, and now you've got the ability to press elbow into outer knee and help to rotate a little bit farther to the right, and find the support you need with your back hand. Choose where you want your gaze to go. It can go forward or back. And we'll hold our rotation. Now we're going to release and come back to face forward. Unravel the leg. Shake it out. And we'll switch sides. So left knee comes in. Option again to cross it over. Sitting nice and tall, start to pull left knee to right armpit with the right arm. You can shift and move around a little bit. We're going to keep that action as we turn to the left, supporting yourself with the back hand, choosing which way your gaze is going to go. Come back again forward, don't switch your legs, just switching the arms. Right arm reaches up, turn, bring the elbow to the outside, and use your left hand behind you again to rotate to the left. Create a little bit of effort, pushing elbow into knee to get the crossbody action. And then again, mid to upper back doing the rotation. Low back is pretty stable. Coming back to face forward, unwinding, releasing the leg out in front. We'll shake it out, move it around. And then you're going to pull your left knee back up into your chest so that you can get your right hand and your left hand, both hands, to the right foot. And so get a grip. If you don't think that you'll be able to extend with your hands on your feet, use a strap around your foot. Nice tall spine, and start to lift your right leg, and maybe it goes to halfway, or maybe you can straighten the full way. This is our heron pose. Nice stretch for the hamstring. Still working on our posture. So there's that nice tall spine, firmness to the belly. Reaching the crown of the held out, and just working towards a straighter leg. Know that you could have a bent leg. If you're still feeling the stretch, you're in the pose. And working towards bringing it closer to you if you've got a straight leg. We're going to hold here. From wherever you are, we're going to come into our seated figure four. So the right ankle comes to the left thigh. Options to have your hands behind your back, or hands get interlaced behind the left thigh, and you're pulling yourself forward. So we're trying to again emphasize the opening in the outer hip of the right leg. Keeping the postural muscles turned on and engaged to hold our nice tall spine. And then just settling into the shape. Again, thinking about moderation, not too much, not too little. And maybe spending a few moments whenever we get a chance to think about what lights us up and why. let's release the figure 4 and we'll start heron pose on the left. So reaching forward, grab your left foot or use your strap. Start to extend and straighten the leg out in front. Adding on by pulling the leg closer to you if you need a deeper sensation. Keep working on your postural muscles and we'll hold here. Ooh, excuse me. We'll release and come into our figure 4 stretch. Ankle to thigh, hands either back or hands forward, holding here. We're going to release the figure 4. We're going to come into our butterfly pose. So soles of the feet together, knees open up, use support if you require it, lift under the sit bones again if you require it, and then adjusting so that you can start to come forward. And know that if this is enough for you, maybe just sitting upright again, working on your posture, great plan, or adding intensity or sensation by going forward. Pull in as many props as you need. We're going to hold here. Nice, slow, even, deep breath. So if you've kind of been distracted from the breath, you can come back to just noticing it, whether it's fast or slow. You can count how long the inhale is, count how long the exhale is, and just get an idea of what's going on. Or you can establish a nice, even breath and then start to think about Brahmacharya. Originally recommended to be celibate, and the reason was that, not that they were opposed to relationships or anything like that, their belief was that if you could preserve the energy that is expelled during intercourse or whatever you want to label it as, then you could use that energy towards your spiritual path. So for the early gurus who were talking about celibacy, it was not a way for to pull them out of their family units. They probably weren't in them in the first place when they started, but it was just to preserve energy. So their whole goal was to get as much energy and focus towards their spiritual enlightenment or their spiritual path. And that was just one of the ways that they thought that they could do that. And now it's really more about how can we live really good, whole lives, healthy lives, and of course being faithful, using moderation, making sure that you're, as always, going back to the first yama, which is ahimsa, so non-harming. Shouldn't be harming to others, it shouldn't be harming to yourself. And so that would be modern day Brahmacharya. But also attached to that is that whole idea of walking in God's shoes or God's eyes, looking at the big picture. And when you see a big picture, you tend to be quite moderate. And living life in a way that fires you up with a sense of wonder. And I think a lot of people live with no sense of wonder, to be honest. Which is so sad. So just another breath or two in your butterfly, with or without the forward fold. And we'll rise up. Now you can just start to flutter your butterfly legs. starting to warm up some of the muscles that we're going to be moving through. And I'll share my sense of wonder, and it doesn't seem to ever get old for me. I mean, obviously, yoga and philosophy is like a huge part of my life, but also the wonder of gardening. It just doesn't get old. That when that first little sprout of seed comes up to the ground, I'm just like, that is so amazing. Like, how does that happen? And right now in my kitchen, I had made salad the other night and had like the stumps of the romaine lettuce, and so I popped them into a bowl with water, and the inside of the romaine lettuce is growing back up, and I'm showing my kids, and they're just like, I don't think they had the same sense of wonder as I do, but they're like, well, how does that happen? It doesn't even have roots. And I'm like, I don't know, but like the cells just know what to do, and that's like so freaking cool. So for me, it's witnessing growth out in nature, gardening. It's fantastic. Anyways, from butterfly, we're gonna come onto hands and knees. Add the extra padding under the knees if you feel like it would be a benefit to you to protect the knees a bit more. And we're going to work on our strength and stability. So making sure that you do have wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, so that you feel like the joints are stacked. That's going to give you a bit more stability. And then I'm obviously hypermobile in my arms. You can see the little bow through my elbow. And I have to actually bend my elbows quite generously in order to get them straight. You may have the opposite problem. You may have a natural bend. You have to work to getting it straight. So just take note of where you are and just try to make your arms so that they're muscles around the joint are stabilizing the joint and not bone on bone to stabilize. All right, firmness through the belly. We're going to send the right leg back. So the leg is lifted off the floor. Imagine, or just actually look and see how your right foot has probably angled out to the right. Turn your toes so that they're facing straight down. Push out through the heel and now lift your leg. And see if you can feel when your hips are level. So you'll know when your hips have lifted and opened. Close the hips so that the hip points are facing straight down to the floor. And then work on pulling the low belly up. And we're going to do just like we did with our arms. We're just going to hold the leg level to the floor and pressing back. And notice what parts of the body fatigue first. So for me, with my tendency, it's going to be my back dipping down. It's just so much easier for me to let the belly go soft and to let bone-on-bone compression in my low back hold me here. So you may be similar, you may be different, but we're just going to work on keeping the arms strong and straight and pressing out through the right foot, pulling the low belly up. I also want to be mindful about how much weight is going to the left-hand side. So if you're really leaning to the left, see if you can balance out the weight so that you're using the core to keep it evenly distributed. It's really nice to have a mirror or a reflection of yourself in this pose so that you can see what's going on, because I can't see you to help. Okay, we're going to release the right leg. And we're going to shift now to the left arm. So, firmness through the belly, shifting the weight to the right hand, but not too much, so you can use your core stabilizers to reach the left arm forward. Thumb is going to face up towards the ceiling, trying to get your arm to be parallel to the floor, gaze stays straight down. Release the left arm. If your wrists get tender with all the weight coming down, use a fist or come on down to forearms and practice here. If you're still okay on your wrists, we'll work with the left leg extending back. Toes point straight down. You're getting your leg parallel to the floor as close to as you can. pull the low belly up, scoop. Keep the weight evenly distributed. Press out through the heel, so you want to strongly flex the left foot. And then we'll hold. Let's release the left leg. Last one here, moving to the right arm. Sometimes it's a little easier if you're struggling with the even weight from side to side, is to have your left hand just slightly more towards the center so that it's able to support the middle of the body a bit better. And then when you're ready, we'll reach the right arm forward. Thumb faces up, parallel to the floor, reach your fingertips. Release the right hand back down. Come to sit in your toe squat. Your toes can be tucked or untucked. If you have a preference, just choose the one that you can stay in the longest. Nice even breaths. As you take the weight off your wrists, you may want to rotate them or massage them. And then if you're not already pretty far back towards the back of your mat, just know that that's where we're heading. So we're going to come into tabletop. And you're going to lift your knees. And then just walk your feet and your hands back to the back of the mat. And we'll come into a forward fold at the back. First forward fold, first time being on our feet. So take your time moving around, adjusting the feet, bending the knees. Finding support under your hands if you need blocks or props. We'll bend the knees, swoop the arms all the way up, full body stretch. And releasing the hands down. Another time we're going to swoop the arms up. Turn the palms out and come on back down into your forward fold. From forward fold, walk your hands forward to downward facing dog. And from down dog, plank pose. From plank, lower to the belly. Roll the shoulders, untuck the toes, curl up into any version of your back bend that is appropriate for you. So that might be cobra, baby cobra, it could be high cobra or up dog. Just take your time. You might want to come in and out of your back bend a couple times, feel it out, see which one feels good today. And then we'll lower down and we'll get our left forearm across the mat. Adjusting the shoulders and the rib cage underneath you, we'll reach the right hand back for the right foot. Again, you may need to use a strap to wrap around your foot, or maybe just pulling your heel towards your bum is enough. And we'll stretch the quad and see if we can get our shoulders and our chest to face back forward to the top of the mat. Release the right side and switch to the left. We'll release the left and come back so the hands under the shoulders a little bit closer to your waist. Tuck the toes, and we're pressing up to either plank or plank on the knees. And back to down dog. From down dog, walking the hands to the feet, you'll be at the back of your mat in a forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Really send the hands down. We're going to go through that one more time, but faster. So arms sweep up. Palms turn out, forward fold. Walk the hands forward, down dog. Roll into plank. Lower to the belly. Rise up into the back bend of your choice. Release. Left arm across, right hand reaches back for the quad or for the foot. Switch sides, left hand, left foot. Releasing, hands back under the shoulders, tuck the toes, press up, and back to down dog. Hands walk to the feet, back of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, full body stretch. Hands will come down. Swooping the arms back up. Palms go out, forward fold. Walking the hands out, down dog. Rolling into your plank. Lower to the belly. Rise up into the back bend of your choice. Release. This time, both feet pull towards you, reaching back for the feet. Maybe this is enough, just pulling the heels towards your bum. Or you could flex your feet generously and lift up more into your bow pose. Again, we're going to come in and out of this a couple times, so go slow and easy. Just test the water, see how it feels. If 2 hands back is too much, you go back to alternating the sides, same as we did prior. You can either just soften and come down, or you could release your feet, reset. And then we'll rise back up. Release. Last time. Again, you're either alternating quad stretch, pulling heel to bum, or you're reaching back for 2 feet and just holding, or you're flexing the feet and coming up into a bow pose. We'll release, bring the hands back under the shoulders, tuck the toes, press up, back to down dog. And take your time walking it out, bending the knees. We'll walk the hands again to the feet, back of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, full body stretch. Hands go back out, forward fold. Hands come forward to down dog. And three-legged dog, right hand side. So right leg extends and lifts. And 3 times bringing your right knee under your chest into your plank pose. So you roll into plank as you draw the right knee underneath you. And press back. One more time, knee under chest. Press back. Last time, knee under chest, hold, round your upper back, and pull your right foot through to the hand, so you're in your lunge. Holding your lunge. If you need to make some adjustments, if you didn't land quite right, make sure you get there. And then coming onto your fingertips, straighten the front leg, send your hips back. And you can have your back heel down or lifted, whichever feels more stable. Now from here we're going to come into a seated posture. The first time might not go quite as planned, but that's okay. So your hands are framing the front foot. You're going to soften back into the forward knee. You're going to come up onto the ball of your back foot. And you're going to step your back foot forward and over to the right. You're going to land with your legs crossed. So how it looks is you're going to step, the shin comes down and you sit. And you've got your right knee crossed in front of your chest. Your bottom knee is back towards your hip. And we're going to sit nice and tall. And we're going to twist in both directions. So we'll start by going to the right. Again, you can use your arm to hold your knee as you turn and rotate. We'll come back to center, twisting to the left. Coming back to center, you're going to plant your hands. So it's your right foot that's your forward foot. You're going to place your hands just like how you had them when we were in our standing posture. And you're going to take your left leg back. So plant the hands, shift your weight, and step the left leg back. You're back into your pyramid pose. And then from here, we'll step back, down dog. And you might need to adjust your stance slightly if you didn't step back quite far enough. From down dog, it's now the three-legged dog on the left. So the left leg lifts. And as you roll your weight into plank, you draw the left knee underneath. And then press back, three-legged dog. Roll the weight forward, knee underneath the chest. And press back. Last time, knee under the chest, round your upper back, think like cat pose, flex your left foot, and step it forward to your lunge. It might not get quite there, so just wiggle it forward. Holding your lunge shape once you get there. We'll start to work to a straighter leg. Both legs are straight, you're bowing over your front leg. You could absolutely have your hands on props or on your fingertips. And we're moving into our seated posture again. So you soften and bend into the forward knee, come up onto the ball of your back foot, and your right shin is going to the left-hand side of your mat. You'll be slightly off your mat for most of us. Step and sit. So you're sitting, you've got your left knee in front, nice tall spine. Again, we'll twist both directions, but we'll start with the left. So left hand behind you, turn and rotate. Coming back to center, switch your arms, twist to the right. Come back to face forward, plant your hands, and we're going back into our Parsvottanasana or pyramid pose. Plant the hands, shift your weight forward, and step back to your pyramid pose. From here, down dog. Left foot steps back, move around, adjust until you've got the perfect shape for your down dog. And then first time walking our feet to meet the hands. So now you're going to be at the top of your mat in a forward fold. From here, rise up onto either fingertips or hands to props. And you're going to cross your right ankle over the left. So you're still in your forward fold, you've just simply crossed your legs. You can have a little bit of softness in the knees if you need it. And then you're going to continue to fold over the legs. Rising up, come back to center, and then left ankle over right. Again, crossing the legs, and then folding over again. Up onto fingertips, uncross your legs, forward fold. Bend the knees, swoop the arms up, full body stretch. And release the hands down. Reaching the arms forward, parallel, palms will face. Sit down into your chair pose. And then let your arms come down and roll the shoulders, reach the arms back. Release the arms, forward fold. Rise up onto your extended lift, either fingertips or hands to shins. Bring your hands back down to the floor. Walk your feet back to downward facing dog. And we're going to step the right foot over the left. So you're coming into your legs being crossed like they were in forward fold, but now you're in your down dog. And you're going to shift your hips back, lengthen the arms. And remembering that we're trying to externally rotate the upper arm bones and internally rotate the lower arm bones. All that means is you're pressing down more firmly through the thumb and the index finger to get the internal rotation, and then turning the eye of your elbow to face more forward for the upper arms. Holding here. Uncross your legs and recross other side, left leg over the right. Holding your down dog, working on the rotation in the arms, sending the sit bones back, firmness through the belly. Come back, down dog. And here's a pose that we don't do that often, but we're going to give it a go today. From down dog, I want you to step your right foot forward and just hover your knee underneath your chest. So it's kind of hovering. And then your right foot is going to go to the left-hand side off your mat. So it's going to shoot underneath you and go straight. And then you're going to start to lower yourself down. So you might need to shift your back foot down, bend at your elbows, and lower your hip. So your right leg is straight and over to the left-hand side off your mat, and you're sitting on the right hip. You can stay on your hands, more upright. It's quite a rotation through the spine. Or you can lower down to forearms. Once you've lowered down, or if you're going to lower down, continue to work the torso so that it's not rotated. So all the sensation is primarily in the hip and the leg. You can always adjust your right leg to bring it up higher or farther from you. It can be more bent or more straight, depending on what you're feeling. And then we're going to hold here. If you've come down, we're going to come back up onto the hands. You're going to tuck your back toe, lift your back knee, and now swing your right leg all the way back to down dog. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. From down dog, the left knee comes underneath you, and you're going to shoot it out to the right and get a good grip with the outside edge. And sometimes you have to wiggle your back foot a little farther back so that you can start to lower down. the back leg is still kind of facing down. So the top of your quad is trying to rotate towards your mat. Again, you can stay up on your hands or you can lower down to the forearms. The leg that has gone out straight, it can have a bend in it if you need, or it can be more straight and come up a little higher. You can work on the action in the back leg. And again, choose whether you're up higher or coming down lower. From here, we're going to come back up onto our hands. You have to get your back toe tucked underneath so you can lift the back leg, and then scoot your left leg back to down dog. From down dog, knees come down, big toes to touch, child's pose. Arms can either go forward or back. Rising up into tabletop, spin your feet either to the front of your mat or around to the side if that's easier. We'll come to sit in the middle of the mat, and if you'd like to add a blanket or a layer or extra socks, you can have those on now. And then we'll meet lying on our back, knees to chest. Now, if you have additional bolsters or props, you may want to add one under the knees. If you wanted to sit back up and put one under your back, of course you could do that. You want to be comfortable. We just have one more little stretch to do before we slide into Shavasana. So from your back, knees are at your chest. One hand on the left knee, right leg goes out straight. And pressing down through the right heel, flex your right foot, pull the left knee into chest. And then straighten the left leg. You can either interlace the hands behind the thigh, or you could reach up for your foot. Pull the left leg towards you. And we'll switch sides. Right knee in, left leg out, knee to chest. And straightening the right leg, hamstring stretch. Last one here. And releasing your legs. And this is where you can bring a prop underneath the knees. You can choose butterfly shape or any position that feels really supported and restful. And so I think for most people we're pretty busy. And we've always got lots of to-do lists, lots of projects on the go, running around, doing things. And even just our day-to-day lives, just to get food on the table 2 or 3 times a day is busy. So Shavasana is an opportunity for you to put all that on pause and to do some of this thinking that otherwise just gets put into the back burner. We don't really have time for thinking about philosophy and how we live our lives and why we do certain things, and asking those kinds of questions like, what lights me up? And then why? Do I even know why? So once you get settled into Shavasana, close down the eyes, add eye pillows, covers, whatever you need, and then just take this time to ponder the questions. And to see where the mind takes you. Allow the breath to be really soft and unguided. Body is completely relaxed if you can. And we'll settle into stillness here. If you have been able to settle really nicely and you feel like you could benefit from a longer Shavasana, I invite you to stay as long as you can. If you know that you need to rouse yourself and get up, you can join me by coming back up to seated. Take the time, move around, either roll to one side or rock up to seated. And I'll just leave you with a few words before I go. In yogic thought, there is a moment in time when we reach the perfect limit of what we are engaged in. It is in this moment of just enough that we need to recognize. It always comes back to the same things. No matter what we're talking about, it always comes back to becoming more aware of slowing down and paying attention. And our whole practice is just about that. Can you refine it? Can you bring a little more clarity to it? Can you go past the habitual reactions to things and really look closer at what you're feeling, what you're doing, what you're thinking? So finding that just enough. So if you're staying in Shavasana, stay as long as you possibly can and enjoy that just enough moment. And if you come up to seated, Join me in bringing your hands to Anjali Mudra, dropping your chin, closing the eyes. And I hope you find that moment in time where you are just enough. And thank you for letting me guide your practice. Namaste. See you soon.